everybody, welcome to the Attract Capital webinar series. I'm Janine, here with David Barnett, CEO.
Hi everybody.
Today we're going to be talking about the art of loan sourcing and how to fish in the right waters. So David, can you tell us a little bit about what loan sourcing is?
Sure, Janine. Loan sourcing is essentially the structured process you use to bring in the funding that you need for either growth or acquisitions. And it's a multi-step process where you engage with the lending market.
Okay, and why is loan sourcing so important?
Well, because everybody needs to get a loan in order to grow. It's part of their needing access to capital is critical to business growth. You want to make sure that you get the right lender. You want to make sure that you get a lender that can close. You want to make sure that you have multiple lending options. And the consequences of having the wrong lender are just disastrous. So loan sourcing is one of the most important processes of any company looking to grow or to acquire.
So if it's so important, then why do so many people get it wrong?
Very good question, Janine. And if they didn't get it wrong so much, Attract Capital wouldn't be a thriving business. But they don't understand the different, really it is a lack of understanding. There's an entire ecosystem of lenders out there on the market for middle market sized companies. They're broken down by company size, by industry, by type of deal, by lending approach. Within that, there's even subsegments. And it's hard for a company to have the global understanding of the entire lending ecosystem to be able to engage with it. So that's the first one. Then there's also not a lot of professionals at these companies that need to source loans, that have the market expertise, to know how to have the connections at the companies or know the different lending structures. So there's little internal expertise at most of these companies. And then finally, the whole loan sourcing process doesn't get the level of respect strategically within a company that it should. People look at it as just something they have to do as opposed to like one of the most important things that they have to do internally. And consequently, they don't give it the right resources and they don't give it the right support. But it is incredibly strategic and it's incredibly valuable with a very big payoff if you do it the right way.
All right, so then what should companies realize when they're starting to source loans?
I'd say number one, they have to realize that it's both a scientific process as well as an artistic process. It's a little bit of both in that you've got to get a lot of information and organize your information and analyze your information, but at the same time, as you're sorting through all the different lender segments, you have to get a feel. You have to have a gut feeling of the lender. Are they authentic? Are they excited? Do they want to close the loan? Do you think they can close it? So those are the things that you have to do. You have to be able to analyze the information, but also develop a gut feeling for the integrity of the lender. So you also need to cast a really wide net, okay? You need to make sure that you're talking to as many different lenders as possible within the right channels, because each deal, whether it's a cash flow based deal or an asset based deal, there's at least 4 different types of lenders within those 2 broad classifications that you can go to. So you have to cast a wide net and you need to cross many channels.
All right, so that sounds like you have to really know how to fish to get the right kind of...
So it's like anything, like fishermen, they know the spots, they know the currents, they know the tides, they know the weather. They kind of
know a little bit of everything.
Right, and
the environment.
Exactly. They have to be very sensitive to all the different external variables going on around them. So one of the things that I always tell people is that they need to understand what they are first in the eyes of the lender. So not what you think you are as a company, but what you truly are as a lender would see you. So prepare a teaser, write out some information about your company and send it to some experts, some lending experts who can react to it and say, well, you're this type of a loan, or you're that type of a loan, or you're this type of a company. So that way you can do some self-assessment and really kind of distill it down. That's the first thing. The second thing is something we touched on earlier, but you want to learn the different lender criteria and understand how your deal aligns with that lender criteria. So if you're looking for 10 million, you're not talking to somebody who starts writing checks at 100 million. Okay, you want to make sure that you're talking to the right segment within the ecosystem. That's number 2. The third one is you want to research the different types of lenders that are available, the cash flow lenders and the asset-based lenders, and make sure that you have a long list, because you need to touch many of them in order to make sure that your deal is going to get funded. The fourth one is you want to identify your differentiators. What's unique about your company that will catch the eye of a lender, because every company has something unique about them. You just have to look deeply enough and you have to refine it. And the final one is, and this is a very important one, lenders like to fish and catch companies that are going someplace, that have a conviction about their growth. So you want to present your company and your unique differentiators in the context of growth. Define who you are through a growth background, and then you'll be much more attractive, and then you'll be much more effective in finding the right loan for you out of the vast ocean of ecosystem options.
So there you have it. So these are all the tips on how to fish in the right waters when you're sourcing for loans, and that is the art of loan sourcing that we're talking about today. So any other questions, reach out to David and Attract Capital, and they can help you get all the right tools to fish the right way.
Absolutely, Janine. Take care, everybody.
Bye.